Hey everybody, so what I'm going to do in this tutorial is show you how to install R and RStudio. Alright, it's not super intuitive in some cases, so that's why I want to go through it really quickly. So I'm going to open up my browser here to start. What we want to do is search for R, and R is literally the letter R. Now, I click on it and my options are Toronto Raptors and Royal Bank and things, but I'm going to just hit R, enter. The first thing that comes up is the R project for statistical computing. That's what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, the R project for statistical computing. And what we see is we get a page that has the big R logo in the top, and it's really sort of difficult to figure out what you need to do. It says to download R, please choose your preferred CRAN mirror. The easiest thing to do is to just click on the side here where it says download and click on CRAN. Okay, so once I do that, again, it doesn't really seem super intuitive. We could go and click on maybe one of the servers that's in Canada, but I'm going to click on just the automatic redirection to servers worldwide. All right, and this is cloudrproject.org. It's the top one. I click on that. Now, here we see download and install R at the very top, and you've got an option for download R for Linux, for macOS, or R for Windows. Now, many of you will be on Windows or Mac. I don't know if some of you might be on Linux. It's unlikely, but you might be. I'm going to start off by doing the one for Windows. So I'm going to click on that. And again, we see, okay, what do we need here? Base, contribute. It says, okay, binaries for base distribution. This is what you want to install R for the first time. So you want to click on that. Install R for the first time. Click. Okay, finally we get to a version here. It says R 4.0.3 for Windows, and here it says installation, other instructions, or download. I'm going to click on download. When I click on that, it's going to put it into my downloads folder, or for me, it's going to be on my desktop. So we can see here it's almost finished downloading. It's up to 60 megabytes of 80. All right. Should almost be done. So you'll probably find that in your downloads folder. So if I close that and you click on your file manager and we look for downloads, it will probably be there. I've set mine to download to the desktop, and we can see that it's actually appeared here. R 4.03 WinExe. To install it, I'm simply going to double click that. It asked me if I was sure if I wanted to install it. It asked me the language I want. I'm going to select English. I'm going to accept the license, which is a new general public license. This is free and open source software. It's going to ask me where I want to install that. I'm going to select defaults. I'm going to select all of the defaults here. It's going to ask me if I want to customize. I'm going to say no. Do I want a start menu folder? Yes. It's going to be called R. And then it asks me save version number in the registry. Sure. I'm just going to leave the default and just let it install. All right. Now that R is installed, we can find it in our start menu. So we can just go into our start menu, scroll down to R. And we see here it is, and I've got several choices here. I have a couple of versions installed, 3.6.1 and 4.0.3. I'm going to pick 4.0.3, but I'm going to choose the X64 or 64-bit version. You see it installed two different versions, but it doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to pick that one. All right, and what you see is this just plain old console. This is what R is. It is a syntax-based system. So that's not very pretty. It's fairly unfriendly to try and use. So we're going to put another piece of software on top of this to try and make it a little bit easier and more friendly to use. So I'm just going to open up my browser here again, and I'm going to search for RStudio. And we see the top hit here. It's RStudio. I'm going to go there. And on the RStudio page, I'm going to find the download link, which is right at the top here. Click on that, which brings me to the next page, says choose your version. And I'll scroll down and I see I've got a few options. RStudio Desktop Open Source License Free. That's what I want. So I'm going to click on download. That takes me to the next page where it gives you the instructions. Step 1, install R. We've already done that. Now, number 2 is download RStudio Desktop, and the one that's recommended for my system is here. So I'm just going to click on that and let it download. And I'll get back to you once it's finished. Okay, now that it's downloaded, I can find it wherever I save my downloads. For me, that's on the desktop, and I'm just going to run the installer. Double click on that. It asks me to approve whether I want to install it. I'm going to go through the setup using all of the defaults, next, where to install, and let it install. All right, so once it's finished installing, we're going to be able to find it in our start menu again. So I'm just going to scroll down to the letter R again, and we can see here we've got RStudio is a new one, and RStudio is our icon we can click on. You can also type it in your search bar if you want. So once it's started up, what you see is a console that looks similar to what we saw in the R program itself, but there's a lot more options here. So we've got a few different tabs and a few different panels. So we've got an environment panel, and we've got sort of a files panel, and then our console, plus a bunch more sort of options in terms of menu items. So in the next tutorial, we'll start to get into how we're going to use R and RStudio. All right. Now, if you want to install R on a Mac, stick around for the next part. All right. We're going to switch straight into the Mac version. Here we are, Mac. I'm going to go through the process of installing R on a Mac. So I'm going to open my browser and I'm going to search for R. And we see the first one we have up here is the R project for statistical computing. I'm going to click on that. And we can see here there's a lot. It's not easy to understand where we're going to download this from. It says to download R, please choose your preferred CRAN mirror. But over on the side here, underneath the R logo, we see download and the word CRAN. We want to click on that, CRAN. So what we see is bunch of text, not really super very friendly, not really easy to figure out where you're supposed to go, but you can really click on any one of these. The best one to do is either the top one here, automatic redirection to servers worldwide, or one that's under Canada here. But I'm going to click on the one in the top corner, the very first one, the cloud.rproject.org. And we can see here we've got the options for Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. And because we're installing on a Mac, I want to click on Mac OS 10. Right. Now what we've got is R for Mac OS 10. And I'm going to go down here and look at the latest release. What we have is the R 4.0.3 PKG. So that is a package file, and that's what you want to install. So I'm going to download that, and I'll get back to you once it's downloaded. Okay, now it's downloaded. I'm using Chrome and it's given me a warning here saying this type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to keep it anyways? I'm going to say keep. You might get a similar warning from Safari and I might put it into a different place, but mine is turned up here just in the downloads folder and we can see it down here on, so I'm going to close that for now and I'm going to click on downloads. And I see, oh, we've got a whole bunch of different things, but I want to open up the R 4.0.3 package. Click on that. And it runs through the installer. It's going to guide me through the steps. So I'm just going to keep all of the different defaults that it asks me to install, and I'm going to go through the installation. Okay, software license agreement. Great. I agree to the license. It will take some space on my computer. Great. I have to provide my admin password and click on Install Software. Excellent. My installation was successful. Close. Now, do you want to keep the installer? No, I'll move it to the trash. I don't need it anymore. Great. So that's done. So now I should be able to find R underneath my Launchpad. I click on that. And we see what comes up, and I have the R logo in the bottom corner. If I click on that, it's going to start a fairly not very pretty window that's just a console with a flashing cursor. That's not very user-friendly. So what we're going to do is we're going to install a package on top of this that's going to make R a little bit easier for us to use. So let me close that down first. I'm not going to save a session. This time I'll use Safari as my browser. So let's search for RStudio. Okay, it comes up as the first result. I'll click on that. It takes me to rstudio.com. And what I need to do is find the download link. We can see it. It's up here right in the corner. Under download, I click on that. And I get a page that says choose your version. I'll scroll down. Here's my options. RStudio Desktop, open source license, free. That's what I want. Let's pick that, download. All right, it says download RStudio Desktop. It says steps 1, install R. We've already done that. Good job. Step 2, download RStudio Desktop. Recommended for your system, RStudio for Mac. I'm going to download that and get back to you once it's downloaded. Okay, RStudio finished downloading. I'm just going to close my browser window and I can see that's in here under my downloads. There it is, RStudio in the bottom. I can click on that. And this one is a DMG file or a disk image. Now this is the other way for which Macs install software. This one isn't nearly as intuitive, but what you're going to need to do is simply drag RStudio into your applications folder. So we take RStudio and just drag it over and drop it in. Just copying it to applications. Be just a few seconds. All right. Now, to launch RStudio, we're not going to use R anymore. So we can see that I've got in my applications, and that's in various places, whether it be here. I've got R and RStudio in my Launchpad. I've got R and RStudio. So to launch RStudio, I would click on the RStudio icon. All right. So I hope this gives you a little bit of information on how to install it. Make sure you get it installed on your computer and you're good to go.